Yeah, all right. Now, I will give you exactly 10 minutes. All of you will get 10 minutes of silence. Suhail, rename yourself and mute yourself. You are supposed to think of an argument from a particular side for the motion, and you're supposed to put it in the chat. We are going to see what these arguments look like. I'm going to comment on them, and that's how we're going to do the practice today. Wait, okay. I don't think my screen is visible. So the first motion is this house would ban sports where the main purpose is to inflict. Friend, can you please be my best friend? Sana, guys, please mute yourself. I don't see why that's such a big problem. Like when you're told to be on mute, please be on mute. It's really annoying if like when other people hear you on mute and there's such a big call happening, right? So yeah, this house would ban sports where the main purpose is to inflict pain. Example of such a sport is boxing, martial arts. Uh, these are just examples. You can find more. But yeah, make an argument about. In fact, let's prep from the opposition side. You're supposed to say that no, we will not ban these sports. Let's see the kind of arguments we find. 10 minutes precisely. 6 by 6:15 we will discuss. I will wait for 10 minutes for everybody to like have the chance to put their arguments in the chat. I won't be reading repeat arguments. So like, or if everybody is making the same kind of argument, it'll be skipped. So try to make your argument as new as possible. That's why 10 minutes. Think about it hard and fast.
So, Miss, just a question. Since you're saying this house would ban sports, and we are supposed to, opposition would say would not ban sports, right?
Yeah, right.
Excuse me, miss, are we supposed to speak for the motion or against the motion, or are we supposed to speak from
Exactly
both
the
points of
question
view?
I cleared right now. Another problem I have here is that you guys don't listen to each other, guys. Please get into the habit. Okay, I'm also putting in the chat. We are going against the motion.
Do we have to type our argument in the chat?
Yeah.
So do we need to write it for the motion or against the motion?
Please read the Zoom call. Please. Sorry, Zoom chat. I am writing it in the Zoom chat.
Excuse me, may we begin sending our arguments?
Yeah, just please give me the space to first clarify doubts in the chat, then you can start. Also, again, one more clarification. Your argument should not be a proper long argument, and your argument should not be sent through direct messages. Angad's argument is perfect. No pain, no gain. I mean, perfect as in it is supposed to be short because 100 people's argument can be read only when it's like 1 word or 2 words. So try to make it short, like not more than 3-4 words. So for example, Chanpreet's argument is good. There is consent. I mean, it's easy to understand. Yes, like that. Good. Start putting in your arguments now. Long arguments will not be read. So if you want your argument to be read out loud by Devika ma'am or me, please keep them short. We will start the discussion by 6:15. So if you're already put in your argument, you can just like wait till 6:15, give everybody the chance to put their arguments in.
I'll start reading the arguments in the chat box by 6:15. Is that okay, Nitisha?
Yes, thank you.
No worries.
Excuse me, ma'am. Sorry to disturb. Can you please tell us what we are doing? I joined late.
We are sending one argument from on motion that's on top in this slide from the opposition side. We will start the discussion.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. I think we can begin now.
Sure. So, for the first chat, I see the chat box is no pain, no gain.
No pain, no gain, as if like, yeah, this argument makes sense. It's just that you will have to analyze it when you're told to. So no pain, no gain as an argument will not work unless you prove that getting physical pain is actually what is required for resilience to be built. Because it's not important that you always have to go through pain. So if you want to prove that, you have to say, you have to explain why pain makes no, no, no one muting. I understand. I understand you didn't have the space to analyze the argument. That's why I'm telling you. So analysis of the argument is important in the sense that you prove that through physical pain, you also develop resilience and a better threshold.
Okay, moving on. So, next up we have no, we oppose the decision of banning sports in the house. Today, if we as a country are proud in world stage.
Devika, I think first we should look at the most, like the shortest arguments, because if it runs into 2-3 sentences, then this will hinder us from reading like everything.
Okay,
You
okay.
can skip the longer ones.
There is a consent between the players, freedom of choice and consent.
Okay, good. Whoever said that, it's a good argument. So basically, this is how people train themselves. You can use resilience, and on top of that, if you say this is done through consent, and if an individual wants to engage in that sport, then and if it's done through bodily autonomy and consent, then it's something that you should appreciate. You can run that principle definitely. Yes, moving ahead.
Okay. Sports encourages physical fitness and discipline. When the going gets tough, the tough gets going.
Okay. Sports encourages fitness, sure, but why should it be the kind of sports that has physical harm? Badminton can also facilitate like courage and strength. Why should it be physical harm? That's not proven. So this argument is slightly underanalyzed. Yes, what else?
Okay, all sports require grueling physical regime.
That's
Everything
yeah.
that okay, everything that happens for good. Stronger people build better societies. They
Okay.
are
I think we need to just comment on them as well. So stronger people are needed in a society. Strong can also be emotional resilience. Strong can also be mental resilience. Why do you think everybody needs to have brute force or physical strength for a better society? You need to prove that.
okay. They are large source of income. Okay. Next up is pain, way of profit. You need to defend yourself. Can be used for self-defense.
Devika, I think we have to go one by one.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, pain is a way of profit. Why cannot this profits avenue be changed into something more constructive, like starting to play something else? This argument makes sense. But the analysis that you need to give to this is that some people only know boxing, right? They've learned boxing or they have like a knack for it. They're a natural at it. So you shouldn't like quell talent. Those kind of an argument. Those kinds of arguments. Yes.
We learn self-defense. It will come in handy.
Yeah, that's a good argument. Yes, it's also self-explanatory. Okay.
It's a source of earning a living for several people.
Yeah, okay, repeat argument.
Historical significance of such sport.
Historical significance is a very like novel, unintuitive point, but how will you use it? Like I like the direction you go in because that will give you some perspective. But historical significance, as in people used to have like there were games where people used to get actual human beings to fight against each other, and some even got killed. And I think in the Roman Empire that was like the game of gladiators and whatnot. But why is that good? So historical significance is there, but why is it good is something that you need to prove. Otherwise, good direction, yes.
What doesn't kill you makes you strong.
Okay, that's a rhetorical argument. This is what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, sure, but why should you put yourself through agony? According to this logic, the people should suffer also, right? Because losing a loved one doesn't kill you. So should we keep losing loved ones? So that's a very generic statement. It doesn't count for an argument. Moving on.
Such sports also have cultures tied to them, which must be preserved.
You'll have to come again with that, Devika.
Okay, such sports have also have cultures tied to them, which must be preserved.
Okay, repeat argument. History related, yes.
Okay, next up we have sports like these help students to learn tolerance.
Good. Resilience, tolerance are good things to run. But why is this tolerance required? You can also say that in current times, the society is very violent. And people, I mean, you need to develop some defense mechanisms, which can't happen if you shy away from physical agony. You can also become, people have become extremely, you can also say that people have become extremely sensitive. Like getting an injection is a problem, getting your ears pierced is a problem because we are used to soft living. So science is working towards reduction of pain because we are becoming very uh, comfortable with the space that we have, and to keep up with our physical resilience we need these sports. That would make for a good argument. Moving on.
Sports is an arena where getting hurt is inevitable.
Okay, that's something you can run. Yeah, you can say that every sport can actually lead to infliction of pain. Like even in tennis, if you twist your knuckle or something, it's going to cause lifetime of a damage. But yeah, you can say that. That's a good argument. You can analyze it and build on it.
If you're playing sports, injury awaits.
Yes, repeat argument. Okay,
Such sports develop willpower and fighting spirit.
valid, but repeat argument.
It's personal choice whether you want to play such games or not.
Yeah, freedom of bodily autonomy. Repeat argument.
Need high degree of physical fitness.
Yes, related to defense mechanism. This is an additional layer to the idea of defense mechanism. So yes, good.
Would be a form of oppression. Boxing has been significant sports for ethnic minorities.
Oh, okay. I think this is a really good argument. Who is this by?
It is by
Me.
Arush Bhagat, grade 11 WSC.
Okay, this is a good argument, right? Because it's a new direction you're going in. You can possibly say that in the olden times also, people used to have like dance forms, and the dance forms that like people, the tribes have, are very different from the soft dance that happen in the ballrooms of the West. The difference that occurs is because people try to channelize their aggression through these dance forms. So when people were like, when British ruled over us, there were a lot of tribal dance forms which helped people channelize their anger and frustration. So that's a good way. Yeah, that's a really nice argument, I would say.
Okay. Then we have boxing and martial arts purposes only.
Devika, can you come again? Yeah, I think there's some construction work going on because of it.
Oh, okay. Boxing and martial arts can be used for safety purposes also.
Yeah, repeat argument, defense.
Sports has several psychological benefits that extend beyond your physical activity itself.
Yeah, yes, this can be related to what I was saying as to how people are becoming extremely sensitive. They want everything to be painless. Like if you want to get your tooth removed, you want it to be absolutely painless, but you have to have some tolerance as well. Yeah, that's a good argument.
The sole purpose is entertainment and intriguing interest, not any specific, not any sort of violence.
Yeah, but this is not a good argument because in that case, even in doing that, you end up doing violence, right? So the intention doesn't matter. What matters is that the person gets hurt. So you need to refine that argument. Yes.
Sports play a significant role in society, fostering physical fitness and personal development.
Repeat. Yes.
Again, it's about giving strength physically and mentally.
Yeah, I think we can skip all the arguments that are talking about mental resilience, defense mechanism, so that we know that we can find the new ones.
Okay, I'll have to scroll. As long as it's ethical, it shouldn't be a problem.
As long as, yeah, that's related to bodily autonomy. As long as people consent, as long as people are willing to do it, you shouldn't have a problem as a spectator. True.
Society is getting deteriorated with such decisions.
But that's an argument from the other side. Moving on.
Okay, it's so one argument has like 5 points. We can maybe discuss the fourth one. Banning harmful sports protect players.
But you're prepping from the wrong side. Please be mindful of the fact that we're prepping from the opposition side. Moving on.
It's a way to remove anger.
Yeah, that's a good argument. The one that I appreciated exclusively about how it's a way of channelizing anger. Yes, good.
Counterproductive to ban these sports would only lead to them being practiced in underground and create black market.
Good, good, yes. You can basically say that human beings have like some buildup of aggressive tendencies. To give that an avenue is good. To give that like a way of manifestation is good. Because even when you watch these sports, that aggression is, you let go of that aggression. As a viewer, there is is a catharsis that occurs. So it helps everybody remain neutral and like more full of equanimity in the real life. Moving on.
I see a lot of motion. This topics come on self-defense, so I'm skipping those.
Yeah.
Regulations, not outright banning.
Regulation and not okay. So again, you switch to the other side. That's not what we want. You have to stick to the side that I give you. Moving on. Are they all repeat arguments?
Yeah, so far. We still
Okay.
have like 133 messages, so I think I'm just
Yeah.
going really quick.
I'll also scroll with you so that if I find something, I can read it out. Guys, please don't write long sentences. When I give you instructions, it's not because I want to be bossy. It's because it simplifies the process. Please listen the next time onwards, like when we're discussing another motion. Just giving 1, 2, or 3 words maximum also works.
A dignified way of fighting.
What does that? Okay, dignified way of fighting, as in there is consent involved. So you can compare this to other painstaking processes. For example, people get tattoos made. Now that is also painstaking, right? But you let them get tattoos because they want to get tattoos. So basically, wherever there's consent, in fact, even like childbirth, right, is a painful process. But we let women become mothers if they want to. So it's you can compare it to those instances as well, where people choose to undergo pain because they think it's rewarding. So if some people think that boxing is rewarding, then we should allow them as well, because it's just like getting a tattoo or childbirth. You can make those kinds of comparisons. They help.
The next one might be relevant, but sports are excellent stress busters.
Yeah, that's a good argument to make. That in the modern times, we get frustrated on a boss, we get frustrated by our professors, and we want to vent it, and you can't vent it on their face. So you'd probably want another avenue. You want a source of catharsis. Sports can be that. Good.
Steel needs beating to turn into a blade.
Well, that's very quotational, but you also need to then analyze it in terms of why steel. I mean, human beings are not steel, which means that there's other things that can hone you. You can read about stories of courage. You don't necessarily have to get into the fighting ring. So I don't think that argument works without very solid. I mean, without a reframing of sorts.
Yeah. Is there a okay? The next one is: does pain really matter if you love the sport?
Yes, it does. So I don't think, no, you can't. Okay, when I tell you to give an argument, you can't ask a counter question. You might think it works really well, but it doesn't, right? So when I tell you to give an argument, you're not supposed to say, oh, does it really matter that so and so happens? Because the idea is for you to give an argument. I think these kind of rhetorics work better in other formats, but definitely don't try it in like a WSDC turncoat or dramatic adaptation. DA, you can still be a little dramatic, but don't be dramatic in WSDC and turncoat at least with questions.
Okay, this one seems interesting. They are entertainment sources for people, and if they're banned, it will cause financial repercussions. Okay.
Entertainment sources, okay, all right. Financial repercussions will be, yeah, there will be financial repercussions. You can explain this by saying that, look, boxing or like whatever happened in the UFC and the kind of effort it takes for you to get to UFC and actually fight there, it's a lot of people's source of like employment. There's trainers, there's coaches, the entire field of wrestling is quite enormous, which means that if everybody is willingly doing it and it employs so many people and it creates so many opportunities, then you shouldn't ban it. It leads to financial repercussions, but also people feeling like aimless, right? Because whatever they knew, the only thing they've spent their life on, like boxing, is something that you're taking away from them. So they feel aimless that way. So it's unfair for us to do that. Yes, you can see it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I've covered all, and rest all were repeat of, self-defense, fitness, earning a living, and everything.
All right, great, lovely. Now, what we're going to do is that we will take only the first 7 responses for each motion. All right. So you don't just have to make an argument, you also have to do it quickly. That's the deal. Plus, yeah, that. So basically, let's move to the second motion. This house believes that the perception of politicians as leaders, as opposed to public servants, has done more harm than good. This motion basically says, should politicians be considered public servants, servant being the keyword here, or should they be considered leaders? Leaders are different from public servants. So you have to say that no, politicians should be considered leaders and not public servants. No, let's just say that you have to say that politicians should be public servants and not leaders. You have to be on the government side. All right, you're on proposition side. I am clarifying so that I don't get a lot of questions on which side I am on, ma'am. This is prop. Second motion being debated. First 7 responses only will be read out loud by Devika. I will respond to them only. So this time around, it's also about speed. Out of those 7 responses, I will also declare one best response. So think and write. Don't just write because this is the first thing that came to your mind. The time that you have to do this is 6. You can do this till. So whenever we have the first 7 arguments, Devika will tell us to stop, I guess. Should that work?
Yeah, I think we have 7 already.
Okay, let's discuss them. Stop, guys. Nobody is reading the 8th argument, so stop. Just listen to your peers' arguments now.
I'll have to find.
Ipshita onwards, stop. Okay, let them come in. Read the first 7, please. We can discuss those.
I'm okay.
Okay, I think I got this. Devika, I'll cover the first 7. A leader's personal vision becomes a compulsion for the public, putting them in a vulnerable position than the leader. All right. Yeah, this is a good argument. It's also like you've taken more words, so it's pretty self-explanatory as well. This could be run. I don't have any comments as such. Politicians misuse the taxes paid by us to the government and take huge bribes and live freely without any punishments. Sure, what you're saying might be true, but how are you linking it back to the fact that they should or should not be called leaders, right? So always remember you have to link your argument back to the motion at hand. Third response. Mute yourself, guys. Mute yourself. Garima Bhardwaj, it's you. Please mute yourself. The world leaders give them the world leaders give them a superiority complex. Sure, you could say that. So when you say that you are my leader, you're likely giving them the kind of importance where they can overrule what you want as the populace of a country. So if you want them to be a public servant, it means that public servants are supposed to listen to you. They're servants at your disposal. So yeah, the narrative that predominates also makes a difference that way. Good argument if it's analyzed. Corruption leads to destruction. Yeah, but how do you link it back to the idea of leadership? Helping is supposed to be a one-way ticket, not a two-way. How do you link it back again? This was the fifth response. They understand the needs of poor. Again, no linking back. Uh, yeah, how is this related to leader or no leader, right? Like being called a leader or not being called a leader. Last response by Arna, they often misuse leadership to direct dictatorship. Okay, you can say that, but you have to prove how that happens. Like, I know I didn't give you the space to prove that in the chat, but if you analyze it, it looks something like people, when they are told that they're leaders, they are like just like scot-free with everything wrong that they do in a democratic setting for the next 5 years that they're elected. Because if you call them leaders, and you're saying that the moment I vote for you, I'm giving you the responsibility to make whatever decisions you want, you know the best. But when you call them public servants, you mean that, okay, I'm voting for you, sure, but you're still my representative. This means you better adapt to what my needs are through these 5 years. So it makes a difference. All right. Let me see if there are any other arguments. I think for me, the best argument in the ones that I've already read would definitely be with the one where you are saying that leadership as a narrative can be problematic. So this was Arna and one more person who made the same argument. All right. Okay. I'm just scrolling through the other responses as well to see if there's anything very, very new. Okay, I'm noticing that a lot of you tend to switch to the other side even when you've been given a stance. Please get into the habit of remembering what your stance is when you're making arguments. If you do this during the tournament, like when the qualifiers are on, it's going to cost you dearly. So please be mindful of the stance that you've been given. You can't just switch by your own whim and fancy. All right, then we'll move on to the next motion. 7 top arguments. Let's make it 10. I'll take 10 arguments. This house opposes the narrative, do unto others as you would like them to do unto you. You can go prop again. And 10 responses this time. Okay, stop. Stop. I think we have 10 arguments. We got 10 arguments, guys. Stop. All right. Let me scroll up. So I think we're starting with Varun Sinha. Moral decision making requires moral decision making requires a nuanced understanding beyond simple reciprocity principles. Good. Really good argument. Also well put. So like in one sentence, I get where he's coming from, what he's trying to say. It's also about how you frame your argument. I think very well done there. So reciprocity, basically, just because you're being good to me, it could also be because you have some self-interest in being good to me. I can't just be good to you despite knowing that you're trying to like mollycoddle or sugarcoat me for some gain. So yeah, really nice. I like how it's put. Second response, not everyone may be as good to you as you are to them, and you in turn may not be capable of repaying their kindness. Not everyone will be as good to you as you are to them. Why won't you be capable of repaying their kindness? That's something that's still missing. So given that this is not a short answer, you've taken quite some time to like write this response. This could have been better explained in my opinion. because I have to read it twice at least to understand what you're trying to say. And even then, I don't quite understand why somebody would not be able to repay their kindness. If you're being kind to me, why can't I repay? Don't always have to repay by like gifting you a BMW. It can also be like money-less repayment, right? So why can't people do that? People have different preferences and mentalities and may view others as inferior due to factors other than how they behave with them. Okay, so you're basically saying that when people try to be it can also be because you are like basically pitying the other out of a superiority complex and thinking of others inferior, because of which you don't necessarily always have to reciprocate. Good argument. Also new argument. The others may not have the empathy to reciprocate your actions. Sure, but why should that stop you from being good? Do you do good things only for reciprocity? Don't you do it for like your self-satisfaction? Just be kind, have good karma, and like know that it repays in some form or the other. So why is this a criteria that only when somebody else is good to me would I be good to them? That's something that's still unanswered. This I think was 1, 2, 3, 4, the fourth response. Moving on. Kavya Batra, fifth response is Devika, can you get back up because it's difficult to scroll through. Every person you communicate with is a mirror of yourself. I'm commenting on this and after this, Devika. So every person you communicate with is a mirror of yourself is a very assertive claim. Like, I know what you're trying to say. You're trying to say that if you are kind to somebody, they will also be kind to you. But that's not always true. In fact, if I'm kind to you, they might think of you as like unworldly and like silly, because of which they might try to use you and dupe you. So it's not always true. You have to prove why that's true for this to work. Yes, moving on to the sixth response.
Yeah, so it is if we respect others, we would be respected in the society.
Sure, that's a very intuitive argument, general argument, but it would work if you analyze it, yes.
You can't trust people to always repay favors.
Yeah, but why should that be the criteria? See, when I help altruistically. This means that I don't, if I am helping Devika with something, I shouldn't expect Devika to do the same for me. Or like Devika shouldn't expect something from me just because she's given me a gift. Those kind of things. You do things out of love, out of charity. You don't do it because you expect things in return. Why would you want that? Is you have to prove why it has to be a give and take all the time. Yeah.
Okay. In practice, this saying is greater role, maybe psychologically alerting us to everyday self-abortion and the failure to consider our impacts on others. The role remind us also that we are peers to others who deserve comparable consideration.
All right, but how are you opposing the narrative then? I think you switched sides. You went to opposition because you're basically saying that everybody should be treated with tact, and tact happens when you understand the other person and like treat them with kindness. That's what I make of this argument. Again, guys, this is not just about like this session. When you're debating in general, try to make your sentences short and very crisp. The adjudicator loses track of things when you give them too many words, right? That's called verbosity, not appreciated in debates. Otherwise, you sound good, you being verbose, but in debates, it's not appreciated at all. So just keep your sentences very, very short. Contemplation is easier that way. Moving on. Was the seventh response, I guess.
Okay. Last three, then if there is no religion, there will be no faith in the people and thus have an increase in the crime rate. It's not an organized so.
Okay, this is a good argument. So you're basically saying that if the narrative is that, oh, I'm not going to do good to you no matter how good you are to me, then people are going to stop doing the good in the first place. That's a really good argument. Who is this by?
It's Siddha Kataria.
Yeah, I think I like the first one by Varun the most in terms of like uniqueness, in terms of how well put it was. And then it's this one. Because both of these arguments tell you a lot in like the short sentences that they have. So try and understand and learn from your peers as well, right? The thing is that you need to keep your sentences short, but they should be full of value. They should be like imbued with a lot of value, the kind of value that I can understand as an adjudicator intuitively also, without much explanation. Moving on.
Okay, so the ninth one is whatever is hurtful to you.
Devika, I've lost you. Just a little louder.
Yeah, it's the ninth argument by Hallie, whatever is hurtful to you, do not do to any other person.
Okay, but why? Like I said, this could, I mean, I called you, let's say, I called you, you are the second best as your teacher. And I called you the second best because I wanted you to improve and I didn't give you I didn't want to give you the illusion that you're the best because that's misleading. Then you might be hurt, but I am doing it out of a good intention. Why should that be any criteria? How is that a valid criteria? I think that's why that argument is shaky for this
Yeah.
logic.
The last one is by Kanika. If you don't treat them the same way you want to be treated, then you don't deserve respect or won't even earn any respect. People will think that you are taking their advantage.
Okay, too many words, long sentences, but the argument is generic, right? It might work, but like I said, try to have shorter arguments. Try to have newer arguments because it's already been run once. But also the fact that if you're not good, then nobody will be good to you is not true. Rich people can be really rude to you sometimes, but you think, oh, it's okay because they're rich, because they're kings. It's okay for you. I mean, some people work like that. They think that, okay, if somebody is like at such a prestigious position, why would they not, like, why would they meet me? So they keep you waiting for like hours and you're okay with that because you think that they have the kind of stature in society that you don't. So people also like are treated well even if they're rude because of the money they have. So it's not always true that if you're rude, you will also be treated rudely. So just like vet your arguments like that, guys. Cool. I think we are done with the 10 responses.
Yeah.
All right. Now we'll open the floor for general questions. I don't think we need any like more practice. There's only so much practice we can do, right? But like this is not about your argument having been read or not having been read. It's about what you can learn from whatever practice we can have. First of all, you're being exposed to a number of motions, which will help you understand what kind of motions can come your way. But secondly, when you listen to the feedback, even to your peers' arguments, you're likely to learn. That's the way to configure yourself when you come to like a prep session of like with where there's going to be these many people, right? So that's that. I'll just quickly take questions the rest of the time that we have. Whoever does not have any questions is also in fact free to leave. You can leave the call, and all the very best for the qualifiers, guys. I bet you'll put up a great show. I hope these sessions helped. Okay, on to the questions.
Um, do we need to wear school uniform? Is there any dress code? Is the first question I see. Am I audible, Nitiksha?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first question is about the dress code.
No, there's no dress code.
We only need to prepare one topic.
No, you're supposed to prepare on 3 topics. The motions are already out. That's a question. Just frankly speaking, that's a question that's indicative of inattention. Please go to the WhatsApp group, look at the communication that's been done by the.
When are the judge criteria is going to be released?
Judge criteria is already released. Again, inattention. Look at the PDF, see for yourself.
Okay. When will the teams be announced again?
Do we have Kamal sir on the call?
No, I think it's going to get out by today EOD. So,
All right.
do we need to introduce ourselves in a specific manner?
It's your call. It doesn't really matter. You don't have to introduce yourself at all. You can just begin with the motion as well. Adjudicators already have you there. Have your names.
What should the second speaker do?
Please go back to the recording, day 2.
Okay. Any practice for DA? Angad, we have shared few relevant links on the WhatsApp group. Please refer to those. When will the teams of the name given? Okay. Okay, no questions are going to be entertained when it comes to the results, that who is going to qualify. You'll have to stay tuned for it. Okay, do we need to give a short introduction of ourselves before the speech?
Devika, you can skip all the questions about introductions from here on. Final clarification. Introductions are your call. You don't have to waste your time on introducing yourself because the adjudicators already know you. But if you want to do it anyway, please do it. It's okay.
When and how is the qualifier going to be done? So whoever is asking this, the qualifiers are on 17th, starting from 9 a.m. in the morning for turncode and DA, and 4 p.m. to 8:30 for WSD.
Just okay. I'm sorry, I missed that question.
Yeah, it was not relevant. It was just about the date of the qualifiers.
Oh, okay, okay. All right. Guys, honestly, we are not listening. We are not going back to whatever is being shared by Ideal, which is really unfair, right? Because you guys are asking repeat questions over and over again about how many rounds you're supposed to debate in, so on and so forth. These questions have already been clarified. Like, how many times could the questions be responded to, right? Like, just be a little considerate. Go back to the PDF, go back to the motions. If you still find a question, then come to us with new questions so that we are also like happy responding to them. Yes, Devika, anyway.
Should DPM counter LO?
Yes.
The topics, would the topics be same for 25th? No. When are the practice sessions? This was the only practice session for all those who are taking part on 17th. While stating facts, do we need to cite the sources?
No. You don't.
Okay. Okay, will philosophical arguments be entertained for R3, Plato's trajectory?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, it's all philosophy, for sure.
Is there a participation recognition? Yes, there is definitely. Okay, the senior category WSGC qualifier on 17th have 90 speakers. Who will speak for 6 minutes each? How is it possible? Okay, Aditya, we are mindful of that thing. So we have done this before. Trust us on the process.
अभी अपना रिसर्च जो काम कर रहे हैं वो करें चल रहा है चैप्टर के बारे में
Raj, you're unmuted. Come on, guys. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's okay. There's one explanation required on the Plateau trajectory motion. Do we need philosophical arguments? This you just mentioned.
Okay, I'll give some clarification on the Plato motion because I think this is a valid question. I'll respond to valid questions in detail. Plato's trajectory, guys, is a question which is philosophical in nature because Plato only did philosophy, right? Now you can talk about the current times. If our kings, like if a prime minister, presidents are selected like that, like based on the degrees they have, is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? Is that kind of a question. You can apply Plato's theory to the current times as well. You're free to be creative in that sense.
Yeah. I think there is a lot of demand for explanation of the motions coming. Raj, you're again unmuted. Okay, so Nitisha, maybe you can just make a note of this thing, and maybe we can think of sending the audio notes that explains the motion if need be, and we can skip those for now.
Okay, I'll also go through the chats and see. When will the name of the teams?
JJ.
Guys, okay. Jaidev, you're on unmuted and it's too loud, guys. Okay. Are we supposed to say all the three topics at once? No, you're not. And I've told this before. Guys, I've clarified this multiple times. I also don't understand why unmuting is happening. It's really annoying for a person who's holding a call of 90 people. All right. When will the name of the teammates be announced? We told you today, EOD, please be patient. Does the first speaker of the opposition has to change their speech and contradict the opposition speaker? Yes, you do. When will we have to speak on all three topics during qualifiers? Yes. How many students will qualify? You don't have to know right now. For turn code, we have 3 speeches for 4 minutes. So that's 12 minutes. So after we are done, are we supposed to leave the meeting or stay in the meeting? Leave the meeting or stay, it's your call. Will we get a topic on the spot? No. You already have all the topics, guys. Could you please explain how the Plato's trajectory motion should be prepared for? We will send audio note. You can also come back to this recording where I've clarified things in the like before.
Yeah.
Topic 1, round 1 and round 2. This house regrets the use of standardized tests. The word regrets in top, you have to talk about why SATs and GMATs are bad, right? Yeah. You have to talk. When you regret something, you say they are bad. Yes. Can you please repeat the timings of the event in the final day? Morning is when the speech formats will happen, 9 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. In the evening, 4:30 to 8:30 is when you will have your WSDC. Please don't ask this question again. It's really, I mean, it's been repeated multiple times. Timing for the qualifiers, please check on the PDF. Can we have points on paper? Yes, you can. Are we supposed to say all three topics at once? No. The senior category WSGC is qualifiers and you, okay, this Devika covered.
Which one?
No,
Which
no, no.
one?
I'm saying you already covered that. It's okay.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Let's look at these 10 new messages. Am I in WSDC now? No ROE. You are in the format that you must have chosen. Is there
Rohi Gupta, just one quick clarification. If you're not able to reach on WhatsApp or mail, please give a ring to Ogly number, which I've just shared yesterday with you. And you can just confirm your format from there.
I'm not like I know my format is turncoat, but yesterday I had inquired like with many different people about changing to WSGC, and I haven't gotten any.
ROE?
Again, yeah, you have to reach to the Ogly number for the
Yes,
same thing.
please. Yeah, please don't unmute yourself. So, like, whenever there is like a doubt, please text the hello Ogni number. That's the best way we can do.
I'm not sure which number I'm supposed to contact.
It's on the WhatsApp group. We can also like share it over again in all the WhatsApp groups if you want.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay. Will we come to know that W qualifying round when are wait, guys. Wait. Can you please repeat the topics? No. Please go and look at the topics in the WhatsApp group. I had inquired about changing from no changes. Are the 3 rounds within 6 minutes? We'll come to know that for WSC and when a chance to do it. Yeah, you will come to know. You will be given a schedule. Is there any DA practice? All the practice that had to happen has already happened. There's no separate practice. There's this practice that we did about thinking on motion. That's relevant to all formats. Any more practices now? No. Now we will directly see you on 17th, guys. For TC, first of all, we will speak the first topic, then the second, and so on. Yes, that's right. Two of my teammates are will be unable to stay. Okay, that's not a question we can respond to. Please text hello ugly number. Ma'am, can you please explain the last topic of turncoat or seniors? Piyush, are you here? You can unmute. Piyush, hello.
Ma'am, good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, hello. Can you please quickly like read out that motion which you have doubts about?
Yeah, sure, ma'am. 1 minute. Ma'am, I'm reading it out.
Sure. You can mute yourself. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Every research work on a minority group should be weighted by a researcher who belongs to the group.
All right, good. I'll give you a clarification on that. Every researcher, as in if I am researching on, let's say, women, right? Like women's problems in rural areas. Then even if I'm researching from an urban area as a man, if I'm a man, let's say, and if I'm researching on women's problems, like let's say child marriage, then if there is a male researcher, then his research should be first go through a female researcher who knows a little more about the topic, because they know what child marriage feels like as like a woman, right? Like a male researcher probably can study those kind of ideas, but they cannot validate those. So to get the validation, you should send it through people who actually belong to the group about which you're researching. Does that clear it out, Piyush?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome. My name was not in today's updated list. This is again, hello, ugly doubt. Will we come to know that for the when I'm Yes, I think I'm repeating questions now. In round 3 of WSGC, do we have to write prop or op? We will tell you on the spot. How do we get to know on which side do you have to speak? Again, on the spot. Can you please explain the WSGC motions once? Supposed to start a debate with a small argument like we did today for the motion. Yes, you're right, Kavya. Yeah. You're supposed to initiate an argument and then you're supposed to analyze it well. Again, prop op, guys, will tell you on the spot. Round 3 motion is Heather here, grade 8.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you read out that motion out loud?
Yes, ma'am.
Whichever you want explanation on.
This house believes that students must be made to pursue institutional education and with skepticism towards what they are taught.
Great. Okay. This house believes that students should be made to pursue institutional education from a lens of skepticism. Skepticism in for this, like a definition of skepticism is that if you tell me that, oh, Nitiksha, you're probably not going to, you've scored a 30 on 100, then I don't believe you because I'm a skeptic. I don't believe anybody unless I have proof. That's what being skeptic is like, right? So you need proof for everything. You don't trust anybody quickly. You don't even trust your teachers unless they give you a very good explanation, right? So this motion is about students, and if they should be in schools, if they should be skeptical of what their teacher is teaching them. Anvi's iPhone,
The caramelized croissant. Amazing.
caramelized dosa, whoever's talking about it, we can hear you. Yeah, basically, you're supposed to say that in school settings, it is important it's either important for students to be like skeptical of the teachers or not, depending on the side you are on, right? So should we constantly question what our teachers are telling us, or should we stop and listen to them because they know what they're teaching? So that's what the motion is about. Heather, I hope that helps you and others.
Okay, ma'am. Thank
Okay. Prisha, are you here? Grade 11th.
Yeah.
Topic, please. Yeah, whichever you need clarification.
The advent of artificial intelligence will prioritize social science subjects.
Yeah, basically, what this motion is saying is that, do you think that artificial intelligence gaining so much of steam in the market is eventually going to the social science subjects also being prioritized? Social science subjects are like literature, history, pol science. Or do you think they're going to be like on the back burner now? Because everybody will want to learn machine learning with artificial intelligence being such a thing. So that's what the motion is about. Does that clear it out, Prisha?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Impromptu for round 3. Why would you write impromptu when you have all the motions, Shikhar? Shikha, I'm sorry. All right. Okay, no questions. Thank you so much for joining in today, guys. And I wish you all the very best for the day of the qualifiers. I hope all of you do well. Please look at the motions, look at the PDFs. There's literally no question you can ask which hasn't already been answered. I assure you of that. So go back to the recordings. Everything you need is already in there. Don't confuse yourself. Anshul, I'm not responding to that question anymore. Can we have points on paper? I have responded to it multiple times. Yes, you can have points on paper. What about practice for the people who have the round? That will happen later for 25th. Ashani. All right, guys. See you all. Bye-bye.